early success of TSM to snowball into another victory. We'll see how TSM answers them here in game number 3. Clutch Gaming coming off the win means they've got a little bit of momentum. They're feeling good about this one, but Champion Select was very detrimental to their success in game number 1. TSM had so many winning lanes, they had so much jungle control. We'll see if Clutch Gaming can navigate this Champion Select the way they want to.
So we have the same 3 bans from TSM, but I think Clutch do not ban Skarner here. That was their 3rd ban last time. They're going to ban the Talia, so yes, this leaves a trade-up instead of just the Olaf versus whatever you're going to play that can't clear as quickly.
And TSM might even want the second half of that trade. After, Lyra, you mentioned the win rate there on Skarner. Yeah, they don't want to let that one through once again, so quickly trying to correct that situation. And Mike Young will not be on Olaf this time around, but Skarner, there's a reason why he's first picked by so many different teams. Also has a very fast clear and can get to a very quick spike.
Well, the response from Clutch Gaming is they're saying, all right, you took our champ, we'll take your champ. We're just going to do an old switcheroo, easy peasy. They'll grab the Olaf for themselves, and they're going to get that power pick, that flex pick in the Scion.
Yeah, the Scion, if it goes up to solo in the top lane, it's the first tank that he's played in this series so far. He's played the Gnar twice, and we'll see what he's able to do if that goes up to him. But I think Febiven would want to counter Bjergsen a little bit harder than just having that Scion, which would make them pretty AD heavy.
And there was a reason in game number 1 why we were giving a lot of praise to TSM and how they executed with the Olaf and the overall team strategy around the champion. Drafting winning lanes for it, pushing up and having the team-oriented objective of getting the counter jungling done. So Clutch Gaming, they are going to do the kind of run back here where they take that comp, and we'll see if they can also execute it. Scion is a very good shoving lane for either kind of flex pick there, so that's definitely a good start for them. We'll see if they follow through.
TSM now picking up both their bottom laners. They grabbed that Tahm Kench that was so important for Mithy in game number 1. He had so many massive saves on both Sven and Bjergsen in fights where it really counted. And they're also going to put Sven on that late game hyper carry with the Kog'Maw that honestly has a pretty good early and mid game as well, if we're being totally real with ourselves about how the champion works with his item spikes and his progression and everything these days. It worked really well for Apollo last game. We'll see if Sven can do the same thing with it. He will be going up against the Caitlyn.
Yeah, but the Tahm Kench does go over to Mithy, like you had said. Very, very good champion for him. He absolutely loves it, so he can protect Sven. And so Clutch are going to say, we need pressure in the bottom lane. So it looks like drafting winning lanes is the name of the game for Clutch. And I actually would suspect that they go for a double-ranged bottom lane here to try and get first turret very early and have Lyra, the Olaf, be able to play off of both sides of the map.
Definitely a possibility there. We've seen Hako on things like the Morgana, definitely known for the bindings.
Not this game, though.
Get some highlights, yeah. There we go. Right off the table. TSM have also seen those.
Yep, the Morgana banned away, the target ban, the respect coming out on that one, and across the board, it's the same thing because you've got the Syndra banned out by Clutch. They're not willing to give that one over to Bjergsen. They don't want to be put to match point at the hands of a champion that Bjergsen is so well known for and so well experienced on, also banning out the Galio, targeting that mid lane.
Yeah, speaking of, players and champions, I mean, we've seen Bjergsen just absolutely hard carry on the Syndra recently. This isn't like one of those legacy champions that you're like, oh yeah, Froggen and Nivea.
Yeah,
where
long time ago.
Yeah, exactly, long time ago. But he's still coming out with so many of those big plays with it, the long-range stuns, and making that burst damage look good. Meanwhile, though, another support ban comes in. Braum, another favorite, into Tahm Kench, so they're not going to have the possibility of that Winter's Bite.
And we're talking about Bjergsen in those bans. There are actually 6 mid lane champions taken away here from him, and those are his top 6 that he's played. He's played only 9 this split. Xerath, Malzahar, and Orianna are the other 3, so he might have to pull out a new mid lane champion here with the Orianna being taken. So 7 out of the 9 he's played this split.
That is quite a lot of focus onto the mid lane pool this game from Clutch Gaming. And I mean, they even lost 1 to their own bans, but that had to be controlled for Febiven there as well. Karma.
And this was really interesting from Clutch. No, because I think what they're trying to do is push Bjergsen off of the champions that they've seen him on and have him show them something new. Because otherwise, what Clutch would do here is you see the TSM bottom lane. Pick your support here, and then you get to flex pick your Scion. But they pick their mid, so TSM get to know their mid and their top lane matchup here, and they don't get counterpicked. Hakuo has to have something worth that in the draft here to really make it worthwhile for that pick order.
Yeah, definitely like the pressure they're putting out in Champ Select. This time around, though, Gnar going to be in the hands of Hanser, so they're kind of playing the reverse. And we're going to see both sides of the matchup.
Well, I wonder what Hakuo can do on these playmakers and on these setup supports when you're up against something like a Tahm Kench that can really nullify just how effective something like a death sentence would be. I mean, if you put Tahm Kench into that last game, a lot of those picks aren't the same.
I mean, we see him kind of doing the baiting there with the Braum, where he was like, pull in the Braum, then go for the AD carry. I think that he's going to have the extra level of 4D chess or whatever.
The 4D. All right. Well, I mean, if they pick a catfish, you pick a fishing hook, and then that's how you end up winning the game. It's the natural counter.
You use rhymes to keep in mind how you win bottom lane in League of Legends. The frog eats the cog, so then you have to always use your death sentence on the frog instead, and that's how you win.
That was the one rhyme.
That was one rhyme.
I was like, I was waiting for
that was on the spot. I can only come up with one. I need teammates. This is a team game up here, guys.
You're on your own on this one. I don't have any good fresh frog rhymes. Sorry.
Give him the hook. Caitlyn gives him the book. Boom, sheriff.
There you go. You get points.
There you go. What, you book him.
Get into game.
Let's stick with rhyme one, because Kate's only got a gun.
What 2 words did you just rhyme together?
Oh my god. Into the game we go. Summoner's Rift popping up on your screen as you can see the matchups, the player cards showing who everyone's going to be piloting as we get into game 3. It's all tied up, so that means either team can take us to match point right here.
And we heard Apollo talking about it. Thinks that TSM is overlooking them. And honestly, if TSM have the performance that they had in game 2 for the rest of this series, it would be huge because they have never missed a semifinals, a finals, and going down here to clutch would be enormous.
So much of the talk around TSM is always about the legacy, winning, getting to finals every single year. Clutch Gaming poised here, chance to knock down, try and put a break there.
It's daunting for their opponents because it feels like they might have that invulnerability, the plot armor, but it's also daunting for some of the members of TSM. You don't want to be the first roster to miss the finals ever.
They might have plot armor, but you never know which team's been working with George R.R. Martin and we're killing off the main characters. Could always come around. TSM looking to prevent that as effectively as they can. Going up against Lyra on the Olaf. We saw the Olaf from Mike Young just decimate Lyra in game number 1. Proved to be much less effective in game number 2. And now we'll see how Lyra can manage this. We talked about how successful he's been on Skarner, and Olaf's a similar champion in that he has a really fast clear. He's very effective at just running at you, but at the same time, like you guys said in game 1, you got to snowball early.
And already we have the differences here. Both times, TSM, they try and invade with their Olaf. They try and set Mike Young up into a position where they're trying to eliminate possible routes for the enemy so he can try and use this early power to its fullest extent. Whereas here, TSM move in, they just get the 1 ward onto Raptors, which moves Lyra over to starting his blue side. Oh, that's very fine, with doing his own clear, doesn't need a pull. The lower he gets, faster attack speed, all that.
Yeah, you don't want a pull.
Exactly. All of the mana and cooldown reduction there is just going to increase the speed, but this is going to be, again, so much about how you work with your lanes early on and who does get that shove to allow options for the junglers to choose from.
Exactly. With the winning bottom lane for Clutch Gaming early and the fact that they don't really have to leash as hard, they get to go ahead and get the shove advantage there. And then on the top side, we have to monitor this matchup because like you said, Kobe, now we're seeing both sides of it. So this will kind of be, I would say, the authority on who's supposed to shove early. I'm pretty sure it's Sion here.
One thing I also want to point out at the beginning of this game, since it proved to be relevant very early in game number 2, teleport for Bjergsen, heal for Featherman, no Summoner Spellbook on either one. So there is a bigger global advantage in terms of Summoner spells on the side of TSM this game.
And the Karma's pretty much there to split push. You'll get a Luden's Echo. I wonder what he'll go from there, because I have seen the Athenes pop into some builds, Ardent in some, especially when he's alongside a Kog'Maw. And this will be about keeping Sven safe. And when I think of that, I think of what's Clutch going to do if it gets to the late game, and how are they going to combat that? Because this becomes a kind of protect the Kog'Maw composition a little bit. They have to have enough damage to deal with it. So you're looking at Featherman in the mid lane with the Orianna Shockwaves, but you're also looking at Apollo to try and get something done early. And Lyra, Bjergsen goes for these invades pretty much every game now.
And the idea is there once again. We talked earlier in the series about how Olaf getting low in the jungle, there's possibilities for people going in for the kills. That's the see?
Unbenched.
Remember the rhyme?
What was it?
The frog eats the cog. Yeah, then you're safe. Come on, boys, keep up.
I've honestly been trying to think of a good word to rhyme that ends with an og, and I can't come up with a dog. But there's no dog.
It's a cog dog.
There's no. Okay, I guess it is a cog dog, but there's no like Warwick or something.
Oh.
All right, back to what we actually have in the game. We do have the Skarner moving to invade towards the Olaf. Mike Young,
right on to
make something happen there, but yep. The frog eats the cog, Kobe.
Well,
the cog dog.
Gold star for Captain Flowers here.
I'm
you know
doing
what?
it.
Skarner is on the map as well, so maybe we'll get him coming down mid lane. We have Lyra, though, for a counter gank. Since all the camps have been taken, both of them just kind of fishing for a little bit of vision. And you can see a lot of it was concentrated up on that top side. Lyra, though, it's an Infernal Drake, and he's got that control ward, so Olaf very happy to try his hand at the solo.
Yeah, he's also got pressure here from the bottom lane that's shoved up, so Apollo and Hakuo are buying him a lot of space here.
Mike Young will come around. There's a Scryer's
Scryer's
available.
wants it.
Mike could see this happening. Clutch Gaming rotating multiple people over now to help Lyra make sure they get this one for free, and it looks like that's exactly what it'll be. Infernal Drake #1 goes over to Clutch Gaming.
See, you got the rhymes down. You didn't even mean to do
Yeah,
that.
I didn't even
probably.
mean to do that. All I gotta do is avoid those darn og words, and I'm good to go.
Oh, I'm not in on this. I'm done. I'm dropping all of this. Oh, another. There you go. You hooked the frog.
Uh-huh.
Can't eat the cog.
And you lay a cupcake down for him to eat and shoot him in the head.
That wasn't a rhyme at all.
I'm going to need a better
That's just
demonic
gameplay.
device for that one.
All right, rhymes or not, Hakuo has been finding hook after hook. That one's not going to quite find the mark it's looking for, but top lane, Gnar versus Sion, both incredibly powerful laners, both sitting at the exact same CS, so this is probably going to break even for the foreseeable future unless Mike or Lyra decides to get involved up there. Both of them do have the Predator boots now available. Lyra's on cooldown as Mike invades for the chickens.
Yep, because the fact that Bjergsen has a little bit more priority, he can invade for those Raptors. Lyra sees it. They're both level 5. He's just going to get a few of them. But invading for the Raptors is big, especially since he had that Spire too, so makes it pretty quick. The Predator boots are both off of cooldown now, as you kind of have to cycle your jungle, get there as soon as possible so that he doesn't take them. And it's just a fight over the camps very early on here for both junglers, who have both had kind of up and down games in this series based off how their team has played around them.
Definitely true here. And with Clutch Gaming not kind of pushing tempo here with Olaf just farming up, Skarner pretty happy to try and get to his level 6 and then start to look for playmaking.
Another hook there on Frog. Takes him down very low HP, about 1/3 or so for Mithy. He'll continue to heal up as he drinks those potions. Still sitting on 3 minion dematerializers as well. Hakuo showing that he's ready for the setup if Lyra ever decides to come to the bottom lane. Lyra is level 6 now. I don't even know how these are hitting. Like, I feel like the hook has extra range when Hakuo is playing it because he just cannot miss.
And the best part is when you land the hook, you get that refund, so you get rewarded to throw another one. So he just keeps the pressure up.
And the pressure is mounting here. You know, they continually getting these little bits of poke. An auto attack here, you know, the spell landing itself does damage there as well. And Clutch Gaming starting to try and open up, play around this bottom lane that's pushing in. And here's the Olaf invade.
Ooh, nicely done by Hakuo. The shockwave over the wall, and Mike Young's got no way out. First blood over to Featherman.
Oh my goodness, Hakuo here. And then they time the shockwave in with the Thresh, taking the death sentence all the way through. First blood for Clutch Gaming. And yes, you know, jungle invading is definitely a team game here, and Clutch Gaming making it look good.
Man, yeah, it was a team game there for sure, because that effort, they got the flash out of Mike Young. He had the Scryer's Bloom on him, that was about it. They're able to get him with the hook, the shockwave after, and just, man, it just feels really bad to be a jungler in this series.
Yeah.
Like, you have the team, even if you're the winning team or the team that's making the invade happen, you end up just in this spot where, whoop, whoa. You hope your team is backing you up. Yeah, the Scryer's Bloom meant a whole lot there because they saw Mike pretty much come from the lane.
Yeah, I really especially liked the timing on the shockwave there, because Mike did flash and was at just the edge of the area of effect of that shockwave. and pulled him back in to secure that kill.
I'm not sure if we've kept track of every single hook, but of all the hooks that I've seen, one has missed so far, with about 7 or 8 of them finding their way onto either Sven or Mithy. If Hakuo can keep this accuracy up, it's going to be very concerning for TSM, but an Abyssal Voyage will bring Mike Young into the mix here. Apollo fires off the net, trying to get himself away, and with Mike having no flash, that's easily shut down.
Yeah, attempt at a play here. They didn't burn Predator for it there for Mike Young. At least as soon as the Abyssal Voyage arrived, they're like, okay, you're out. We'll let you off easy on that one. So there are still options for him to go for, but again, he's going to have to worry about Lyra. This level lead plus flash advantage Olaf versus Skarner matchup. You have to be careful about which fights you choose and how far you overextend.
Exactly, and they didn't know what was on the bottom side of the jungle. Like, you can see that TSM don't really have any wards on that bottom side at all. So as soon as they started running up, kind of looks like Lyra might be there, so they just back up. They don't play that kind of guessing game or take that risk. So far, Apollo, he's at that 10 per minute mark in terms of CS, and so is Feathervin, and that turret is very low. So Clutch, they drafted early, and so far they've been playing that way pretty well.
And with that turret being low, if they decide to make a play around the bottom part of the map, look at the top left. It's 1 minute until Infernal Drake #2. That could be a potential reward there as well if the timing is right. You continue to see these top laners, though, just like we expected earlier, locked in Mortal Kombat. No real influence being put towards that lane from anywhere else on the map. Mid laners and junglers more content to play around the bottom side right now. But with those teleports available, these guys could also easily become involved in the next big team fight.
Look down bottom here through the lane. Predator used from Lyra, and he might get the Lantern here. There goes Hakuo.
Going in, they're looking to make the play. It's Sven who's going to be in some trouble now, but Mithy with the Devour into the flash. It counts for 2. They still want to look to go even further. Mike Young nowhere near the fight. It's going to be Lyra grabbing the kill this time as Mithy gets taken low. It could be a 1 for 2. Bjergsen makes the TP into the fight. And once again, Clutch Gaming's jungler, the one who's making things happen.
They really hard committed to that one. Lyra under the turret knew that he was going to go down, but they wanted to secure the kill.
But top lane right here actually pushes Mike Young off of the Rift Herald that he was trying to do at the same time.
Yeah, that's because Bjergsen teleported and completed the teleport down to bottom side. That turns top into a 2 versus 2 here. Feathervin just going to chase him off. But again, if you go through all the steps of what led up to that bottom lane play, Hakuo had 1, 2, and almost 3 down there. He's going to Lantern in the Olaf. And, he got the flash play, and then the death sentence was aimed at Tahm Kench, but Mithy still had flash, and he was able to flash away. In the end, though, after securing that play, they finish off the objective, and the gold and extra map territory is what counts.
Let's see that one more time here. Like you said, the 1, 2, and 3. There's number 1, the flash. Number 2, gets it back, throws it. You're absolutely right. Mithy had to get the 2 for there, where he beats him and then flashes. Clutch trying to get that second Infernal.
Clutch got to be careful about biting off more than they can chew here. Hakuo down below half HP. A teleport being channeled. Haunter has most of the Narbar, but with the TP canceled, it's now an advantage once again to Clutch Gaming. They've got Solo coming in from the side. They're able to set up the play, grab the kill, and to spend with no summoners from the previous play being made in bottom lane. And Clutch Gaming have control over this Infernal Drake pit. Lyra's down to 200 HP. He seems pretty okay with that situation.
Great. I'm berserking.
There we go. Infernal #2 is down, and gentlemen, I believe the RNG gods are most definitely in our favor because I saw a 3rd Infernal marker on the Drake wall that'll be spawning just 6 minutes from now.
And if Clutch can get that one, a triple Infernal for them would be huge because this Caitlyn is actually pretty far ahead now.
All right, well, teleport locations is what makes the difference in this fight. The teleport choice here for TSM on the ward up next to all of Clutch Gaming, who also have Caitlyn that can lay down traps on top of a teleport arrival, make that a very, very dangerous entry point. Meanwhile, Solo gets to complete his teleport, so Clutch Gaming, as you said, they had the extra numbers advantage, plus there was no summoner spells on that Kog'Maw who had previously been targeted, and it made an easy Scion ultimate there for Solo. So Clutch Gaming making the start of this game look very easy for themselves. Pretty clean couple of plays.
And 3,000 gold and 2 Infernal Drakes at 12 minutes into the game is a substantial lead for this team that a lot of people weren't giving a lot of chance at winning this series.
You talked about those teleport locations. before that fight, Mithy hadn't completed his quest, whereas already been completed for Hakuho. So Hakuho got to lay down lane wards after they took that bottom turret and gave all the gold to Apollo. So they were able to set up off of this bottom lane winning to have their top laner come down in a better position. So it's kind of all interconnected here, where that Caitlyn plus Thresh and Hakuho just popping off have made it so that the map is pretty much wide open, and they've had a lot of more options than TSM here.
TSM's bottom lane rotating up to the top side now. As you can see, the bottom lane from Clutch Gaming doing the same. They're still hanging around with Lyra. He's playing around these guys so much, trying to enable them, trying to allow this Caitlyn to become as strong as possible. Remember, this is Apollo's most picked champion in Spring Split 2018. He feels comfortable on this. He can carry them on this, and that's what Lyra recognizes. That's what he's trying to facilitate right now on this Olaf. You can see a little bit of an item divergence on him as well, going for the Giant's Belt after the Cinder Hulk as opposed to Righteous Glory components. So we'll see how that works out.
I wonder what he's going to buy. Potentially the Warmogs. I don't think Randuin's is that great of a purchase here. Deadman's maybe the other, yeah.
I really don't like Warmog's Rush against Kog'Maw, because Kog'Maw does percentage health damage, and just stacking a bunch of health there, you would get melted down.
Yeah, I don't think it would be very good.
But we'll getting melted down. Bjergsen takes a lot of damage there from Febiven. Lyra comes up, won't go in all the way on that one.
Yeah, but that means they get Rift Herald wide open here, because they've swapped the map. They have their bottom lane up top, and they have pressure, so they could potentially go for that right afterwards.
Sticks around. Predator for a Predator as Mike Young comes over to try and cover mid lane. Do have a lot of vision being set up there. Solo now gets jumped on, but just going to walk on under. Let the leapfrog go over.
Not too worried about it. He's fallen behind a bit in terms of farm, but the nice part about being that just massive meatball in the top lane is you don't have to stay completely caught up or ahead all the time in terms of your economy. You're still going to be very effective in the team fights, even if you do find yourself just a bit behind the curve.
Which does make a lot of sense for Clutch, because they don't really play around solo. They play around their bottom lane and also their mid lane, so kind of leave that wide open. And this Rift Herald, I thought it would go over to Clutch based off the positioning, and looks like it's going to go over to TSM here as they're being very opportunistic about this.
Mike, Mithy, and Sven, the three-man Rift Herald Extermination Squad, doing what they can to take this down before Lyra makes his way over. Smite there from Mike Young, so they secure it. Bjergsen also joining up with them towards the end there to make sure nothing sketchy happens as they make their way out. And that's a good neutral objective pickup for TSM. In a game where they're very much on the back foot, where they're very much the ones defending and trying to find ways back in, that's one of those doors you can open.
Yeah, and especially since they're slowly bleeding turrets out. They lost that bottom turret off the pressure. Their mid turret is already below half HP, and then their top turret was starting to get chipped a tiny bit. So they need to try and open up the map, and I would assume finding a way to use it mid here is the avenue for TSM.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to turn that Rift Herald into some sort of map control, because as Captain Flower said earlier on, another Infernal Drake is on the way. It's only 1 minute and 30 off. And right now, Clutch Gaming have a very solid early game lead.
Mithy, he's going to grab Mike, going to bring him in.
They want to play on the bottom lane. They go way underneath the turret, but Apollo is kept safe. Hakuho drops the box, and Clutch Gaming walks away.
Yep. Thresh can do 2-for-1 flashes as well. Doesn't have to use it there, though.
And they're just barreling down this top lane. They're going to throw down the Rift Herald here, knock this turret down very quickly. Actually, it needs a few more taps on it.
Shelly needs one more attack and can't quite get it. They need a single auto attack from any champion, quite honestly. 87 HP. All right, maybe 2 auto attack.
But Apollo already has static shiv, so he's in a very good spot to wave clear. And you can see that now Lyra, he's over here on this side of the map. He's already got his back in. It's Inspector's Cowl after he got the Giant's Belt, so was just looking for a little bit of extra HP at the start, but there's the Predator.
Hook comes down, and Sven in some trouble. He's going to be popped. They try to eat him, but it's too late. The frog didn't eat the cog, and now they're in some trouble. Mithy tries to run away. He cleanses away from the frog, but you're not cleansing the dunk, baby.
That was a true reckless swing, because he flashes in for it, and he has gray health ready, but Mithy is not expecting an Olaf flash kill right there, and they are hugely rewarded. Their tower doesn't go down. They get to then push back on TSM, and the Infernal Drake should be the swap after to bottom side.
Exactly. You can see Lyra running across mid right now saying, let's go, let's get this right here. Triple Infernal would be huge for Clutch on top of this 5,000 gold lead they'd accrued against TSM.
And if you're TSM, what are you going to do to stop this right now? It's not exactly dropping slowly. You've got the Olaf and the Orianna pouring damage. Bjergsen might go to try to make something happen here, but Lyra's still got the secure. Shockwave comes through. Lyra likely the sacrificial lamb here. No way out of that one, but he'll gladly trade his life away for Infernal number 3.
Oh, exactly. Any day of the week. One for Infernal when there's nothing really else for the other team to take. Definitely worth it there. So Lyra goes down to get his team that objective.
Clutch Gaming picking up objectives on both sides of the map.
This one again.
As Irene's giddy here just watching Hakuho work his magic. So Mithy is far away, does have flash available, but since everything has been used, he's dead to rights. Ignite was still burning on him, and then in the end, Flash is here to try and get under turret, but Lyra's like, I can do that too. Boom.
Oh. Yeah, he would have most likely survived, but Apollo had the ultimate coming through as well, and oh, I just love that. I love that reckless swing so much. But Hakuho, that guy is playing out of his mind. The save that he had onto Apollo, the pressure he had in lane, like this guy ended up being, even though they're on the 6th place team, our 3rd pro team all NALCS, and that's a reason, and we're seeing it right here.
100% kill participation in this game so far as well.
And as he's even making these plays, remember when he saved Apollo from that collapse from TSM where they expend the Tahm Kench ultimate, it looks to commit so far, they don't even spend summoner spells for it.
Mike Young is up top in the brush, and they see this coming. There's Hex Flash. Okay, all right. Doesn't matter.
Nothing gonna happen this time. Sometimes you just gotta scare him. It's about sending a message.
Exactly.
That's all.
Remember, I have this.
All right, well, Mike Young's actually sticking around in the brush, whereas Clutch Gaming abandoned topside. So TSM, in the end, should be able to push that minion wave and tap down the turret for some much-needed gold for themselves. Oh, is he going to get local gold? Yeah, he's going to walk back in.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to say, all right, we'll sacrifice that turret. It's got 1 HP on it anyway. Run to the other side of the map, trade sides, but it takes TSM so long. That's like 15+ seconds to get that last hit, and that's enough for Hakuho to run all the way to the bottom side, ward up this next area they want to play around.
Haunter might have found himself in a pretty bad spot now as well. Multi-man collapse. Haunter trying to stay away from it for now, and he fails the hop over the wall.
Hey,
never mind, that wasn't the hop.
He's got flash.
I read that one a little bit wrong, but Haunter is still done for as Lyra picks up kill number 4 this game.
Once again, Hakuho thinking ahead, cuts off the escape path, lets the lantern come through, and they secure the kill. There's a reward, Zyrene, for playing on the opposite side of the map.
And might have a double reward. Mithy getting himself... Nope, he's fine. Getting himself out. All right. That's where he gets himself.
There has been this Morgana ban that's been thrown out. This Braum ban also joined the table. I feel like the Thresh is going to jump on that next
You almost
game.
have to. You almost have to. Feathervin in some trouble, but he gets away. Mike's not fast enough. The hook. Oh, nice sidestep there from Mike Young. Solo now in the back line, though, and Sven will go down instead. Clutch Gaming happily will take that one. You can keep your jungler. Just give me the 80 carry. Mithy barely walking away as well.
And right now they can push for that mid turret here. They get mid priority. There's 20 seconds on Sven, potentially Baron here, but Clutch, they like to play it safe.
This game is brutal, guys. Clutch Gaming are demolishing TSM here. Huge advantage in the Infernal Drakes as well as the gold advantage. And this is a new organization in the league. Very impressive stuff. Here's the dodge there from Mike Young, but in the end, he gets devoured. That leaves Sven all alone. Mithy even made a little bit of a sidestep over there. He's like, oh, I want to save you too, but
no.
my tummy's only so big.
You can
Can't
see
gobble up everybody.
the reaction cam from Sven. Frustrated this game. 0-4-1. They've targeted him, and they've done it so well.
So in TSM's last 10 games before this series started, Sven's combined scoreline in those 10 games was 39, 4, and 54. He has died that many times in this game. He has died 4 times. That equals the last 10 games combined for him. He is having the worst game he's had in a month.
And he's on a champion that honestly needs to do a lot of carrying for this TSM squad. You talked earlier on in this game, Irene, when we were talking about Bjergsen's itemization path, how so much of what TSM is doing is supporting Sven, enabling Sven, and if he's too far behind the 8 ball, they're just stuck.
Exactly, and I feel like Hakuho is the person who's pushing this ahead here. He is making that bottom lane look silly with all those hooks. There's another.
All right, not quite hitting that one. TSM walking out of the way, learning a bit how to sidestep these, it seems. Mithy no longer on that 90-something% accuracy rating. I think he's dipped into the, not Mithy, Hawkwo on that, trying to hit Mithy, I should say.
He's still giving him haircuts, though. They're really close.
With everybody just running mill around this jungle here, Clutch Gaming actually left so much vision in the blue quadrant leading up to the Baron as well. You can tell, even though it's early in the game, they can feel the power that they have here, and they're already turning their eyes towards more picks, leading TSM into this dangerous area where Hawkwo can try and throw them out.
And remember, in game number 1, when TSM was so dominant, they went for the early Baron. They had faith in their jungler that he would win the 50-50. He did, and that just completely snowballed the rest of the game into a TSM win. Would Clutch make such a play? They've got a 5,000 gold lead. They've got 3 Infernal Drakes. They've got the turret advantage, but it's all about how they continue to build and translate that lead into more here in the mid game.
Knowing Clutch, they definitely don't like to make those types of plays. They go for the sure thing, but they also really like to take fights that they have advantages in more than objectives. And hook on the mic to try and protect this as the team collapses.
Mira coming in from the side. Solo will be approaching from the other side, but Featherman not here yet means there's no way they can pull the trigger, at least for a couple more moments.
If they start now, they'll be able to do it.
Here comes your Lantern. Death Sentence not finding its way onto anyone. The trap line is set down there in the mid lane. Haunter in some trouble, going to be knocked up as he tries to get off the hop. Lyra expending the Olaf ultimate. Haunter, Narbar ready to go. Into the Mega Gnar form he goes, but no opportunity to find an ult just yet. Another hook, just barely not finding its mark.
I love this vision toggle by the observers here because it shows how Hawkwo consistently weaving himself into the fog of war, throwing out the hooks, trying to find some picks. There we go, though. This time it's a dark passage that saves Solo from screening, allows them then to get this Mountain Drake and push back out onto the field.
And that gives TSM the advantage mid. They're going to push, threaten the turret, and then look at that Baron with Monster with the dodge.
Monster ready for that one. Sometimes that's one of the tricks, right? You think he's going to go for one of your carries, and then he switches it up onto the top laner, but Haunter knew that trick. He was way too familiar with those kinds of plays, gets himself out safe.
Hawkwo has been doing that forever. This guy on this Thresh, it's just such a treat to watch him play it, especially when he's on point. In the last 2 games, it has actually been ridiculous. You have to watch out, Mithy.
All right, Mithy with another good dodge. He's his dodge game has stepped up significantly since what we saw in laning phase.
Exactly. You kind of get into a game and you go, okay, how's this guy playing? Okay, how do I have to dodge? And you have to do it by reaction and really just take it all in and figure out where he's throwing it. And especially since he has the Moby Boots and he also has the Talisman, so he has the extra movement speed that comes with that from having the Eye of Ascension. He moves around very quickly, and you really have to be on your game.
I feel like it's been a year, almost year and a half, that people have been saying Hawkwo is underrated. Now finally on the playoff stage here, believe he's getting his due.
Yeah. He seems appropriately rated right about now. He is putting in the work. He's getting a lot of success off these hooks so far. And even when he's not landing the hooks, he's also making those Lantern plays, those saves like what you were talking about, getting Solo out of something that could have potentially gone bad in the river, keeping the Caitlyn safe in the top lane. Sven having to run away from an Apollo that now has full 3 items on Caitlyn. Mira wants to go in. He's got the undertow. And Clutch Gaming find yet another pick onto the TSM carry.
The flash was blown in the last mid lane skirmish they had. Clutch Gaming punished that summonerless Kog'Maw, and now it's time for the Baron.
Yep, Hawkwo just pulling Featherman in. That's all they see, but they've definitely started this up.
The yoink is all that's in vision.
There's a
and now the Baron looking to be taken. Mike Young wants to go in. Hawkwo drops the box, controls Mike Young for now, goes in. The shockwave comes through. Mithy going to be taken low. Turret destroyed in the bottom lane, but Mike Young is already gone. Lyra with a killing spree and the secure onto that massive objective. Mithy gets the hammer, and Solo brings it down. It's 10-2 for Clutch Gaming.
Everything is coming up Clutch today. Right now, they are playing out of their minds. The setup there, the macro that they had behind that too, to make that call. That is not a call that they usually go for, and you see they try to make it a sure thing. But Apollo, he is so far ahead.
That was 2 hits.
Skunked him. He's at 3 items, the rapid fire cannon, static shiv, and when there's no frog, you bonk the nog of the car.
The nog! That's a good one. Solo approves as well. Happy to see his team with such an advantage here. Then we see Hawkwo flashes over, misses a couple of them, but it doesn't matter. In the end, they're able to lock down the Skarner for a while. Then Mike Young flashes in because they're blind, and he's not sure what the health is, and he was going to die at some point anyway, so wanted to get an attempt there. Now, we actually have a little bit of action with the Baron team back out.
Clutch's vision control, though, has just been so much better than TSM's. Vera, once again, Ingenious Hunter, high vision score for himself with Zombie Ward on top of it, and there's only one sweeper. You're like, how are they denying all this? It's a lot of those vision ward purchases that they lay down when they're trying to do objectives, and they bait and set up the zone and spend with no flash. He's got a body block.
The shockwave nearly kills him yet again. Mithy on the front line now. Hawkwo nearly taken down, barely escaping from the wrath of the Bio-Arcane Barrage. Bjergsen wants to go for a flash play, but doesn't quite land it. That means Hawkwo still walks away. Bjergsen's down a summoner spell. TSM rotating now down towards the bottom part of the map, but they've also got to respect what continues here in the mid lane. Tier 3 under siege. Apollo putting in work on this Caitlyn, this comfort pick. They set him up for success, and he has delivered.
Now he's taking down the inhibitor here. Traps are set up. It looks like TSM actually getting fairly close in contesting.
TSM will lose that inhibitor. Clutch Gaming wants to get themselves out. Redemption will come down, get them all topped off, but Abyssal Voyage into the back line. Smithy having to immediately flash away, leaves Mike Young in a bad spot, and he is gone. Clutch Gaming get themselves one, and the attack now reverses direction. They're going in and out of there. They're also going to find the kill onto Hanser. That has got to be it. Clutch Gaming with the victory march towards the Nexus turrets. Bjergsen has to work a legitimate miracle to hold this game now, but I don't see it happening. Ladies and gentlemen, Clutch Gaming takes TSM to match point.
Clutch are on the brink of doing the unthinkable and knocking TSM out of the playoffs.
10 times TSM have made it all the way to the finals. And Clutch Gaming here are on this doorstep of creating some history for themselves.
We heard from so many players on TSM talking about Sven and Mithy, who are the kings of Europe, talking about Hanser and Bjergsen, who have had so much experience on TSM, on the most dominant dynasty in the North